Hey, good evening. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to our weekly show. We call it Three Broke Guys Handicapping. It's where we review one of the top racing cards. And in fact, it's this week. It is the top racing card from around the United States. We will select a four-race sequence from that track and attempt to come to a consensus on a pick four ticket. Thank you for joining us. It's week number 43 of the racing season, and we are going to where the surf meets the turf down at Old Del Mar. It's Del Mar Racetrack in Solano Beach, California, and it's the final day of the Breeders' Cup. The pick four starts in race number 9. It ends in race 12. It's all stakes in the pick four on Saturday. My name is Rich Sharp, and each week I'll be joined by my friends and racing analysts, and this week they are closer than ever, folks. Our first handicapper, I'm going to tell you, he is from Staten Island, New York. But, folks, in reality, Ray Torado, he's sitting right over here, and we just returned from day one at the Breeders' Cup. Ray, how are you doing today? Unfortunately, Ray's actually having some technical difficulties right now, so he's going in, signing in. But just so everybody knows and tells you, I can just prove it to you guys. I'm not lying. Ray and Joe are actually right here in the same room with me. It's the first time we've ever had the three broke guys all together. Because I just kind of let the secret. All right, there he is. Welcome, Ray.
How you doing, Rich? How's everything? I'm on my phone over here, and this is really funny. We're all together, finally, California. This is great, man, I tell you.
All right. Exactly. I picked up Ray at the airport on Thursday, and I'm going to introduce our West Coast handicapper. He is from Temecula, California. And yes, Joe English is sitting right here next to Ray. He's on the other side of the table. It is the first and only broadcast where the three of us are in the same location. Joe, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Rich. A little tired from all that driving today, but doing well. Thank you.
All right, hang on 1 second. Ray, when you're not talking, you're going to have to mute. We're getting double feedback on my side.
Oh, okay.
All righty. Just trying to make sure I'm not hitting you with the double. Okay, there it goes. Technically last week we skipped. And unfortunately, we did not hit our pick four a little earlier today on day one of the Breeders' Cup. So I'll just go right into our weather update. It is time for a brief weather update from San Diego, California. The forecast for Saturday calls for a few clouds from time to time. It's a high of around 68 degrees. The winds are at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Most important of all, it is a 0% chance of rain. There are a total of 12 races. They are all stakes on tap for Saturday. For today, we are focused on the pick four. It begins in race number 9. It concludes in race number 12. Gentlemen, the gates are locked and loaded. The outriders are clear, and the starter's ready to pop the gate. It's pick four post time.
Let's go. Get it going.
Race number 9. The approximate post time is 6:19 p.m. Eastern time. It is the mile. They are going mile on the turf. Breeders' Cup mile. Grade 1, purse is $2 million for 3-year-olds and upward. 14 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 10. His name is Ribchester, trained by Richard Fahey and ridden by William Buick. He is 7-2 on the Breeders' Cup morning line. Some of the most dominating performers in recent memory have made their mark in the Breeders' Cup mile. That includes Tepin, 2-time winner Wise Dan, and 3-time winner Goldie Kova. Joe, you are up first in the Breeders' Cup mile. Do you see anybody the likes of Wise Dan or Goldikova in the BC mile today? And don't forget, Ray's Little Pony is in this race this afternoon.
Yeah, believe me, I think we're all well aware of that. No, there are no Goldikovas, no Wise Dans, no Tepins, no tourists, I don't think, even in this field. It's a wide open betting affair. Ribchester's a 7-2 morning line favorite. He's probably, at least the European contingent will tell you, he's the best miler that they have. I'm not 100% sure that he's going to have it as easy as he wants it in this spot. And the reason I can say that is because I've watched a lot of video. One thing about the Breeders' Cup being releasing the PPs and the pre-entry so early is that you can get a lot of time to actually have a job and a life and check out some video when you have some free time. And I did get a chance to watch a lot of the mile combatants. And the one thing I think I'm fairly certain about is that the pace of this race is going to be fast. Rib Chester is a horse who goes to the lead. There are others in here. Midnight Storm, for one, is generally likely to be close up. Heart to Heart, who is somebody we've handicapped on this show, is normally close up. World Approval will not necessarily need to be on the lead, but he generally is somebody who's somewhat close to the pace. And others of the European contingent, again, I've had a chance to watch them. Home of the Brave likes to run on or near the lead. Roly Poly, the filly for Aidan O'Brien, is another who really likes to be up close. Blackjack Cat is another. So basically, I'm just seeing a heck of a lot of pace in this race. So the horse I went with on top is a horse that surprised some in the Shadwell Turf Mile, and that's the 8, Sway Dwa. Danny Tudhope won on this horse in Europe in the Solana Way Boomerang Stakes in his last race over yielding ground at Island, but the horse has actually done okay on fast ground, good to firm. And he was obviously benefited from a nice pace in the Shadwell Turf Mile. I think he is probably going to benefit from the pace the most. The one thing I think we probably noticed, and one of the things we noticed today about the racing at Del Mar, was that the turf stretch is very short, and I'm not sure if the European contingent of riders has accounted for that yet. I'm kind of hopeful that he does and is accountable for it, and has figured out that he's going to need to move a lot sooner than he would have. This is not a race run over a straightaway like they run them in Europe. Again, he was able to get the horse up to win in the Shadwell Turf Mile at Keeneland. I would take 6-1. I think he's probably the best horse, and he's probably the best closer in the race. But obviously, he's not somebody I can single. I'm going to go with another 2 horses, two other closers who I think will take advantage again of the pace. The only thing I kind of hope, and the one thing that worries me about this, is that it's a 14-horse field, and you're going to have to get around a lot of these horses as a closer. You're going to have to work out a trip working through some tired horses, in and around tired horses, through that short stretch at Del Mar. One of the other horses I like is the 4, Lancaster Bomber, who finished second behind World Approval the last time he was seen locally. Well, not local, I guess locally being in North America, at the Woodbine Mile. The pace that day was slow, and the field was really bunched. And he was one of the ones who was making ground late. He didn't make a lot of ground. Obviously, he was only 3 lengths back at the second call and finished 2.5 lengths back. But he was one of the ones who came out of the pack to chase World Approval home. And again, World Approval was allowed to set a slow pace that day. And I can't see how the pace is going to be slow in this race. I think Lancaster Bomber is going to probably sit back and make one run, more like he did in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf in November 2016 under Seamus Heffernan, who returns to the saddle today when he finished second behind, again, another runaway speed horse in Oscar Performance, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf in 2016. So I like him a little bit. I also like the 6, Zelzal, another horse who generally likes to close. Again, this is more a video play. He just returned in Chantilly in a Grade 1 at the Prix de la Forêt. Finished 6th, beaten only a length and 3/4, but the horse was closing into the leaders as they came down the lane. And 6th by a length and 3/4 is not bad. Again, the horse had a little bit of time off. I think today is more the target that they were looking for. So I'm going with the 6 as well. So for me, I'm going with closers because, like I said, I see a pace meltdown going on here. And I don't have anything against World Approval. I just think he's going to be caught up in the pace. And heck, he may actually be the one who survives the pace and gets the lead turning for home to take the closers, all the European closers, Suédois, Lancaster Bomber, and Zelzal in the Breeders' Cup Mile to kick off the late pick 4 on Saturday, excuse me. It's not Sunday. Saturday at Del Mar. So I will hand it off to Ray. Ray, I know there's one horse who will be on your ticket. Is there going to be any more than World Approval?
Yeah, I have a nice 6 deep contingent here. World Approval, what can you say about him? He's 4 out of 5 this year. he'll be part of the pace. I think, like you said, with a short stretch, I think he will survive the pace and hold on, hopefully, for the win, or at least be in the hunt. He's 4 to 5. The Manhattan, he was just too far for him. 3 races back, and I think Mile is his best distance. Johnny V rides. He had 2 wins today, so he's having a good Breeders' Cup. I do like your horse, Joe. 8 2 days. He's definitely going to be closing. He ran a very good Shadow Turf Mile. Came off the pace. First time Lasix, 9 to 1. He really benefited off of that. So the definitely he had the number 1 prime power. So he's gonna be a good price, 6 to 1. I also like Ripchester, coming from Europe. He ran very well in the Queen Elizabeth. Ran against Persuasive and Churchill, who's in the Classic. And Will and Buick, they come here. He's the only thing about him I see is that the fast turf. See how he runs against it, but he's definitely a good horse, and he's been solid first and second the last 5 or 6 races. We also have Roly Poly on the outside. Ryan Moore. They won today with Mendelssohn. Aiden O'Brien finally snapped off his streak there of the U.S. He's been struggling this year. She's a filly, 3 years old. She has it up against her, but she's a good filly. Racing in all over Europe. And she actually was here last year in Santa Anita. Ran a decent race, tied a little bit at the end, but she was definitely in the race. And Bolly Rocks, we've been handicapping this horse a couple times. It's a long shot. I'll take a chance. Jose Lascano, been running also that Shadow Turf Mile, lost by half. 4-star Dave just missed by 3, by a few lengths there, tied a little bit on the yielding course, and also the poker ran well. So I give this horse a shot. And I also give a shot Blackjack Cat, the local horse, who will be in the lead, post 13. The Turners comes up short there. But he ran well in obviously my Santa Anita. And Del Mar is 3 for 5, so that's definitely, I like the horses on the home track. Kent Somo. You're going to get a good price there, too. So those are my horses there. The 5, the 8, you get the 10, 12, 11, and 13. Rich, it's up to you.
I'll put a side wager on with anybody who wants to bet on Blackjack Cat beating Heart to Heart to the 6 furlong pole. And if it's going to be, and I'll be honest, if anybody's going to beat him to the 6 furlong pole, it's going to be Midnight Storm, which is actually the race within the race that I'll be watching is the 1 and the 2 going at it. Joe's correct. This has all the signs of a pace meltdown coming in this one. There's quite a few who like it on the lead. Those first 2, Midnight Storm and Heart to Heart, demand it on the lead. So that'll be an interesting race. Like I said, I'll be watching that one, the race within the race. And my check mark ends up on a horse that's already been talked about here. I just like the name as well, Suédois. Looked fantastic. As you see there, I kind of put over here, Joe and Ray and I, the only time that we've ever been together other than tonight or today was at the 2014 Breeders' Cup. There was a horse that was named Main Sequence. Anytime I really want to piss off Joe and Ray, I just bring up Main Sequence. And that was the horse that knocked us out of the pick 4 that day for a big score. And that was a European horse that had come over to the United States, and it was, doing okay over in Europe, seconds and thirds, not setting the world on fire, and then came over here and seemed to like the turf. And I'm thinking that Suédois has all the looks of Main Sequence to me. David O'Mara can train the jockey. I can't say the name of the horse a lot easier than I can say the name of the jockey there. But he's a solid jock from over in Europe. And so that was where my check mark ended up with all this speed in here. And another thing was the fact that the horse had such a good performance over at Keeneland. Again, Joe kind of alluded to it just a little bit earlier than I was able to get to it. This Del Mar track, the turf track plays a little small, and so does the Keeneland track. So does the Keeneland turf track. Those are not big turf tracks at all. And yet Suédois was able to come from the back and navigate that one. Has a better post than some of the outside ones. So that's where my check mark ended up. I know Ray's Little Pony was in this race. I know I've made a whole bunch of money betting on World Approval. So I actually couldn't leave him off my ticket, and I do have World Approval on my ticket. So I've got the 5, the 8, and then I got a little chalky, or I guess I got a little Euro chalky there at the end, and I included the 10. I included Ribchester. You don't often see this with 10 races, all in the same program here for this horse by Richard Fahey with Richard William Buick, and every single race on the form, third or better with number of first places as well. So I've got the 5, the 8, the 10, and the 12. I went ahead and I put in Roly Poly as well. Let's see, Ray, you've got the 5, the 8, the 10, the 12, the 11, and the 13. And Joe, I believe, got the 8, the 4, and the 6. All right, and I'm getting some feedback here again. So I think one of us is going to go on mute. I'm going to go ahead and come on back. All right. And we are going to move along here to race number 10. They are going 1 mile and a 16th on the main track. This is the Sentient Jet Breeders' Cup Juvenile. It is a grade 1. The purse is $2 million for colts and geldings, 2-year-olds only. 12 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 10. It is Bolt d'Oro, trained by Mick Ruiz and ridden by Corey Nakatani. He's the 9-5 favorite on the Breeders' Cup morning line. This is the contest to find the best 2-year-old in the country, and yet only twice in the history of this race has the winner gone on to win the Kentucky Derby. In 2006, it was Street Sense, and in 2015, it was Nyquist. Ray, you got the kids tonight. Have we got a Kentucky Derby hearse in this field on Saturday?
You know, I gotta tell you. You hear me? Yeah, I can. Okay. You can look at this race 2 ways. You bet Boltador or you try and beat him. Boltador, for me, I mean, he's 3 for 3. He's ran lights out, ran 2 turns. He actually ran well in the Futurity, also in Del Mar. And Mick Hughes, in an interview, he said that he was sprinting, but he didn't want Boltador to feel like he was a sprinter. So they purposely take him off the pace, and he still finished on very strong. He's been running very well, dominated the West Coast contingency. The Futurity, the Forerunner. Forerunner, he ran lights out. The bio was tremendous, 113, but they actually downgraded to, I think, 100. But his Brisnet speed figure is 105. So this horse can run. He's been working out well. He's just got the look of a Triple Crown, and I'm gonna take him, bet him. I'll probably play another pick fours, like another pick 4, with going lighter in other races to try and beat him. Because if you beat him, it's gonna be lights out. This pick 4 paid huge, and so some other horses I was looking at was Good Magic, for Chad Brown. He just missed in Champagne. He's out of curling. Looks like to me he wants 2 turns. Belmont, the Champagne's running around one turn. So he's still a maiden, but he's running against 2 good horses, and he's running some good figures. So he's still, he's going to be a good price because he's a maiden, but he's been in the races. I mean, you don't run a maiden in grade 1 unless you think you have something. So he could be a factor here. I do like the Free Drop Willie. He won the British Futurity, Keeneland. He ran very well. He came off the pace. He opened up. He drew away. Similar to Boltador. So he's definitely a main factor. He's out of Union ranks. And, that horse ran in Belmont. So then you got Solomini, number 2, Baffert's home court. He's got this horse cranked up. He chased Boltador last time. He was in the race. All they can say is second best. It was 4 wide, so he might have lost a few lengths there. But that day, no one was beating Boltador. So, but Solomini got the number 2 hole. He'll probably be first, in the hunt around the 4th turn. I expect him to be on the lead, trying to take over the race. And Baffert's very aggressive with these horses, and it's just his home track, with Santa Anita. So I expect him to run very well for Zayat Stables. So those are my horses there. I get the 11 for a single. And also in another pick four, I'll be playing the 5, 6, and the 2. Joe, what do you think about the juvenile?
Well, I don't disagree with you about what you've got to do strategically in this race. You either have to take a stand. You have to take a stand one way or the other. You have to either try to beat Bolt or you're going to single him and try to enable yourself to go deeper in other races, trying to make this into, I guess, as close to a pick three as you can. I personally am leaning to the side to take Bolt Doro as the single and go with the free square. The problem I guess I have is that watching video of free drop Billy's race in the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland, he was terrific that day. The buyer speed figure only shows as a 79. And I guess if you compare that to Bolt Doro's 100 and even the 85 that he ran in the Delmar Futurity, I guess Free Drop Billy also ran 85 in the Hopeful. It doesn't seem like they compare. But again, I went visually with the eye test, and I said, Free Drop Billy is somebody that you need to be careful and be wary of. Dale Romans has trained some upsetters in the past, so like Keen Ice, who upset American Pharaoh at the Travers not that long ago. So Dale Romans can definitely train a good horse. This horse was a $200,000 purchase. Again, 2 seconds up at Saratoga in sprints and exploded in a really nice effort in the Breeders' Futurity in order to win that race. Again, the speed figure just does not measure up, and maybe the speed figure is too low. Maybe it'll need to be adjusted, but maybe it is what it is. And if it is what it is, and they both run their speed figures that they ran last time out, Bolt Doro's what would look like an easy winner. But what's funny is I'm still trying to figure out the pace scenario of this race. The one thing I know about U.S. Navy Flag, having watched video, is that U.S. Navy Flag is a fast horse, and he likes to be on the lead early. My guess is he will have some company. The tabulator, maybe Bahamian, if he breaks well, it'll be up there as well, I would think. So I think it's going to kind of set up for somebody who's just slightly off the pace. Nobody really won on the dirt from too far back today, except for the distaff winner, which of course forever unbridled. I lost her name for a minute, even though I bet her to win today. So the pace scenario of this race is kind of tricky for me. But if Bolt Doro runs the race he ran last time, my guess is there really isn't anything stopping him. And like Ray, I think depending on how I feel and the way things work out, I may go too deep on my personal ticket, but I'm more inclined, like Ray said, to go single with Bolt Doro and go wider in one ticket and then play another ticket with Free Drop Billy with my top choices, so that your price choices, so that if Free Drop Billy, if Bolt Doro happens to not run his race and he gets beat, I want to at least have a chance to hit the pick four with my strongest opinions in the other races. So just like Ray, I think I would do two different pick fours, one with Bolt Doro and one without Bolt Doro, and try to see if you could at least cover as many possibilities that way. But again, this race has to go through Bolt Doro for me. They've got to beat him, and until somebody does, he's the top pick. And 9-5 is a pipe dream, guys. Anything above 4-5, that's probably a gift, or at least I would think it'll be a gift. Even though today we noticed that the European contingent seemed to bet a lot of money on their horses. I noticed September for Aidan O'Brien went from 10-1 to 7-2 in one flash early in the betting for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf. And Mendelssohn, the winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf, went from 9-2 down to 5-2, I believe, fairly quickly. I think it was one flash, but eventually drifted up to 9-2 to win it at $11 for Mr. Sharp, who happened to have him as his best bet of the day today. So again, to sum up, it's Bolt Doro over Free Drop Billy for me. If anybody else happens to upset the apple cart, I won't hit my pick 4, and it'll really upset the people in Vegas who wanted a strong Kentucky future book favorite like they have in Bolt Oro at 10-1. He's 10-1 to win the Derby as of right now. So 11-5 for me, and I would just go too deep. So Rich, take it away. I've already talked too much.
I would bet that 10-1 all day long and all night long right now. Boltioro, he's an undefeated horse. He's 3 for 3. You've heard on this show before. We always say, watch out for those undefeated horses. He's 2 for 2 here at Del Mar. He is 1 for 1 at this distance. He has done it all. He actually became my Kentucky Derby pick 2 races back when he won the Del Mar Futurity. You heard us on this show. We talked about it. Whoever wins that race kind of goes into my book as the Kentucky Derby favorite. And I am going to go ahead and single here. Probably more or less the same reason that rated. I've got quite a few options in some of the other races. Couldn't come up with a single in the Classic or narrowing down the Classic, and so I'm going to go ahead and single here. The horse that's named after the fastest man in the world is going to go ahead and take the Futurity, and I think he's going to go into the book as my favorite for next year's Kentucky Derby. So I just went with the 11. I think Ray just went with the 11, and Joe went with the 11, but he's also got the 5 in there as well. And let me go ahead and come on back. And I apologize. If you guys lost me there for a second, we had a little internet difficulty and I dropped out of the picture, and I'm back for you now. All right, we are moving along to race number 11. They are going 1.5 miles on the turf. This is the Longines Breeders' Cup turf. It is grade 1. The purse is $4 million for 3-year-olds and upward. 14 starters, and your morning line favorite at 7-2 is in post number 5. It's Ulysses, trained by Sir Michael Stout, ridden by Frankie Dettori. The forerunner for this race was the Washington, D.C. International Stakes at Laurel Park Racecourse. Inaugurated in 1952, it was raced on turf at 1.5 miles and drew the best horses from North America and Europe. Joe, I'd be lying if I didn't mention I was disappointed that Ulysses took the top spot on the morning line. I was at least hoping to mention the first horse of this very show. I believe Beach Patrol has had more entries on 3 Broke Guys Handicapping than any other equine. But who do you like in the turf?
Well, it's funny. This race is one that usually the Europeans win, and not only do they usually win, they usually dominate, which is probably why Ulysses is the morning line favorite. I'm actually kind of surprised that Highland Reel isn't the morning line favorite, being that he's the defending champion in the race. But I'm actually not going with either of them. I'm going with the 3 Broke Guys horse. I'm going with Beach Patrol. I saw something new the last time he ran in the Turf Classic. The first time he tried this distance, obviously there was a runaway 99-1 shot on the lead. Beach Patrol just relaxed, let the horse go, and Joel Rosario rode a brilliant race, and basically he just rode up next to that other horse, took over on the turn, and was never headed in the horse. I mean, he won by 5. He came in home in a real fast time. I think they ran the last 3/4 of a mile in that race faster than they ran the first 3/4 of the mile in that race. I think this is perfect for him. He likes to sit close to the lead. It's not where he's going to be running in a fast pace. He's going to be able to sit where he wants to be. And I just think that last performance was great. And if he repeats it or gets anywhere close to it, he's going to be a handful for them to beat. So Beach Patrol is my top pick. Unfortunately, I would have to go for Dio. It's a European-dominated race most of the time. I would take Highland Reel as my second choice. And the reason for that is if you look at those last 2 races, the one race at Ascot, again, on good to soft turf, which is obviously something he doesn't like. So, and just if you went through the PPs and you crossed out all the races that were not on firm or good turf, that would eliminate a lot of Highland Reels. He won, like I say, he won the Breeders' Cup turf last year. He's the defending champion. But good turf at the Hong Kong Vase, he finished 2nd. Yielding turf ran 7th. Good turf in the Coronation Cup, winner. Good turf in the Prince of Wales, winner. Soft turf in the King George, 4th. Soft turf in the Quipco Champion Stakes, third. This is his second start after the layoff. This is the firm ground that he wants. So he's the horse that Beach Patrol is going to have to beat. Um, and honestly, if he's less of a favorite than Ulysses, and I'm not taking anything away from Ulysses, he's a good horse, but he's beaten Ulysses twice on firm turf. The only time Ulysses faced him and beat Highland Reel was on soft ground. And based on Rich's weather forecast and our presence at the track today, they're not getting soft ground. I'm telling you that right now. So Highland Reel would be a choice I have to include on my ticket. I would also include the horse that Beach Patrol beat last time. And again, this is a point of contention that Rich and I and Ray and I have been talking about since we left the track, because part of the reason we didn't hit a pick four is because we forgot to include Chad Brown's horses. And if you see Fanciful Angel, well, actually, wait a minute, he's now trained by Chad Brown. And I watched the video of this race. Obviously, I watched Beach Patrol's performance, but Fanciful Angel, I don't think he was ridden aggressively enough. I think Irad's going to go be a little bit more aggressive this time. I hope he's going to be a little bit closer to the pace again. Maybe it was because there was the runaway leader, the 99-1 shot last time. And I just didn't think that Irad was aggressive enough with this horse. But the horse is now returning. Second start off the layoff. The Lasix has obviously made a difference because the horse was not doing what he's done here in two grade ones when he was running over in Europe. So he's finished second to Beach Patrol twice, which is probably why I wouldn't be able to make him a top pick, especially over Beach Patrol. But Chad Brown has a history with horses like this, and I don't want to get beat by Chad Brown in this spot. So I'm definitely including Fanciful Angel. And there's one other horse I'm going to include, and that's the 8, Bigger Picture, who hasn't been seen since the Sword Dancer at Saratoga. And I'm glad that Johnny Velasquez gets aboard today. I don't think Jose Ortiz had the greatest ride of the day when he rode him in the Sword Dancer last time. Actually, it wasn't the Sword Dancer. I'm sorry. Maybe it was the Joe Bravo ride in the Bowling Green that I'm thinking about. But I just think the Bigger Picture, if you go back to the United Nations, when he did get a dream trip up the rail, but he's shown that he can win at distances of 1 3/8, 1.5 miles. Mike Maker, John Velasquez, and you're getting 15-1 on a grade 1 winner. Again, he won the grade 1 in the United Nations. So you got to give him a shot. 10-time winner out of 27 starts. And again, you're getting 15-1. So I would use that horse in this spot as well. Top choices are the 12 Beach Patrol, 3 Highland Reel, 10 Fanciful Angel, and 8 Bigger Picture in the Breeders' Cup turf. I didn't realize it was a $4 million race now. So I will hand it off to Ray, and I'm not sure how deep Ray was going to go in this spot. So Ray, take it away.
Big money, $4 million. Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I do like Beach Patrol. Turf Classic was an amazing race. He went off he moved him early, caught that horse, and that speedball just went out there, and he just drew off. Usually on turf, you have close finishes. Horse to win at 4 or 5 lengths. That's a very good race. Usually on the turf, they're usually close. So he really ran well. And he's coming into his own as a 4-year-old. And, he's won the Arlington Million. He's won Turf Classic. So, he likes the distance. And we're back here, 1.5 miles again. So that's my top choice, Beach Patrol. I do like also Ulysses. Coming in from Europe. And, faced Enable. And he coming off a very short turnaround, a month. So, and he finished third in that race. So, shipping over here, he should be okay. Last year, he just had, just didn't run too well. And, maybe they did something this year. And he's won 3 races this year in Europe. So, in Group 1s. Oscar performance for me, number 14. He's one of those 3-year-olds that's been running against 3-year-olds, and he's been running very well. He's 3 for 6 this year. He ran well last year. He's developing well. This last race, he was close to that pace, and Beach Patrol passed him. He didn't fire on. He got a little trouble trip in the inside, Jose. But nobody beat Beach Patrol the other day. But that probably cost him second. So um, post 14, I'm not too worried about. It's a long race, so just has to get position and just like work it out. I also like number 10, Transfer Angel. He finished second to Beach Patrol. This Tough Classic for me is coming up as a strong race. So I'm using the three horses from that race. And you mentioned something about the ride. Sometimes I think maybe um, Irad might have been a little complacent, trying to get the horse the distance. Sometimes you're a little unsure if he could get the distance, and he probably wasn't too aggressive enough. Now that he knows he could get the distance, because he did finish second by 5 and in a good time, because and him and Oscar Performance did run well, behind Beach Patrol. So I think he'll be a little more aggressive now because he probably a little comfortable. He can get the distance. So I think he's going to run a much better race this time. Second race off the left too. And also Highland Rio, I have to include him too, like you said. Um, Last year he ran lights out. He opened up on the field. I think by surprise because I don't think anybody expected him to do that. But he ran slow early, 112, and came home with 223. So that was like they just but Flinchie was coming, but they just he was too far in front. From ground he likes, and I don't know. I don't think they'll try and do that again because there's more speed in his race. But he should still get the distance and run a decent race. So I'm going to go with the 12, the 5, 14, 10, and the 3. My pick 4. Rich, it's up to you. Yeah, I am not. No. Oh, okay. I don't hear him.
It's very faint. Rick, it's very faint.
Hmm?
No problem, sir.
Yeah, you're right. Um, I gotta tell you, you have. I mean, there's been some question marks on Arrogate number one. I'm gonna bet him, but the Baffords. Using three horses, and they're all Baffert. So pick one. Uh, Arrogate to me, when he came back from Dubai, finished fourth. They were like, "What happened to him?" Last race, he came back, finished second. He had a little more energy. That's a tough trip, and I guess he didn't handle it well coming back. There were rumors that he doesn't like the track, Del Mar. That may be the case, but last time he showed me something. He showed me that he could still. He kicked in, and Collector was loose on the lead. Collector was gone, and he was coming, and he only lost by half a length, and he looked like he had a little more energy. Um, now you're talking. So Baffert laid him off a little bit. Has some good workouts in him. I've been watching his workouts. His stride looks his back. His stride looks very well. I saw that 7 furlong workout actually on the air. I just happened to be watching, and I saw like a replay of it. And his stride looks well. So I'm gonna go with him. Mike Smith, Big Money Mike. You're gonna get a good price because if Gun Runner's there. Um, Gun Runner to me, I'm not gonna use him on my ticket honestly. He's been running very well on the East Coast, but what he's been beating is nowhere compared to what's in this race. He's a good horse. Don't get me wrong. You guys can like him. Somebody else can like him, but I'm just going with Arrogate. I think he's gonna show his old form like he did in the Dubai World Cup and his other races, the Pegasus. He's won $17 million, and he's 7 for 10. Had a few clinkers. Listen, every horse gets beat. It happens. But I think this is gonna be his day once again. I also like West Coast. He's a developing 3-year-old. Won the Travers. He's been won the PA Derby, so he's been running well recently. Lost out Derby, and he's one of those horses. Just as every day continues, gets bigger, gets stronger. So he might be next year's big horse. Hopefully he keeps winning. Don't count him out. He's got speed to stay close to the lead. He could actually prompt the pace if there's a big speed though, which I think there will be, because you do have Collected in there and some other horses who are gonna go. So, but I definitely gonna use West Coast. Castellano jumps aboard because Baffert just went out. He ran out of riders. That's basically what it is. He ran out of riders. Javi, I got a horse for you. I like 11 Collected. He ran lights out in the Pacific Classic. He beat Arrogant. A mile and a quarter may not be his best game. He just barely held on last time, but he did it Del Mar. So now give him a chance. He's definitely, if anything happens to these horses, because sometimes you get bad trips on the horses, he'll definitely be in the picture. He's 4-4 this year, so he's undefeated this year. Martin Garcia's on the board, and another Baffert. So the fourth Baffert, Mutabihij. I don't know if I have enough money, I might include him, but I actually got a button today. It says I'm gonna bet on Mutabihij, so that was pretty funny. He did win the Awesome again, but he's one of those horses. He just made a lot of money in Dubai, but he hasn't. He's won the Awesome again against moderate competition, I would say, because everybody else is laying off. So, but he does have a win. I guess it's his confidence level up, and you never know. The longest price of the Baffert bond might win. So, but for me, I'm gonna go the 1, the 8, and the 11. I'm not going to include Gun Runner. He's a good horse, but I don't think he's going to go out there and face these horses on that track. So, Joe, it's up to you. The classic.
It's funny. One of the things we kind of noticed today was that especially it's with Stellar Wind, and I can't remember who the other horse was now that we were talking about that actually got took a little time off in between. They were like, oh well, we'll train up to the race. We'll train up to. I'm sorry, what was it? More Spirit. Okay, thank you. that they were, they were like, oh yeah, we'll train him up to the race. We'll train him up to the race. They only, I mean, More Spirit hadn't run since the Met Mile, and Stellar Wind had only run 3 times this year, and they were basically nowhere. More Spirit was really washing the post parade. I noticed it when they, because we were standing outside and we were standing pretty close to where they were entering the gate, and I was like, wow, he looked really washy. So something was wrong with him, and obviously Stellar Wind didn't run as well as she normally does over at Del Mar. So I was kind of thinking maybe that the horses over this track need to be a little bit more fit than than maybe in other Breeders' Cups, and maybe you can get away with more at Santa Anita, depending on whether you have a speed horse or somebody who likes to sit close to the pace. So of the horses that are run recently, I mean, basically, I've just like Ray mentioned, I was the same way, feeling the same way about Gunrunner. It's like, yeah, he's since he came back from Dubai, he's won 3 bang up races, but Breaking Lucky, Neolithic, and Rally Cry would probably be about 40 to 50 to 1 in this race. So he really hasn't been beaten much. I think Gunrunner will be on the lead. I think Collected will be sitting right outside of him. But I think the horse that's really going to get the best trip, the Garden Spot, is Baffer's other runner, not Arrogate, and it's the 3-year-old West Coast. I believe he's going to sit right outside of Arrogate as they go down the backstretch. I know at some point Mike Smith is going to have to do something to try and get outside. And maybe if he does early, West Coast will be forced 4 wide, which will not make me happy. But again, West Coast just seems to be getting better and better with each start. And maybe he's this year's Arrogate. Remember last year, Arrogate was the one who won the Travers in track record time by 11 lengths and then took down California Chrome in this very spot. Maybe this is West Coast's destiny this year. Maybe he's this year's Arrogate. Again, he's 2-time Grade 1 winner, again, against 3-year-olds. I get that and I understand that, but he just seems to be getting better each and every start. And I like the fact that he's run more recently than both Gunrunner and Arrogate. I'd rather not take away from Gunrunner, but like I said, the quality of the competition he's been beating is really low. And it's funny because it almost kind of came to fruition with Elate today. Elate beat the 3-year-olds pretty well, but then she ran in the Beldame and basically she beat a bunch of Grade 3 horses. And when it was time to run against Grade 1s, she obviously, she put in a run, but she obviously didn't do anything down the lane, and it turned out to be Forever Unbridled's day. So basically, I'm going with the horse that has some more recency on his side, and West Coast is my top pick. I like Collected as well. I think Collected at least has been proven against a little bit better competition, including Arrogate last time out, as Ray mentioned. Arrogate did look like a little bit more like his old self, after coming back from Dubai and just throwing in an absolute clinker in San Diego. I think Collected will be able to sit off of Gunrunner, and we'll see if we'll know more about Gun. I think this race will tell us more about Gunrunner than it will about anybody else. We'll see if Gunrunner is the real deal, and when a Grade 1 horse hooks him and looks him in the eye, will he be able to turn him away? I'm not saying he can't. I want to see it though. I'm not going to take a short price 9 to 5 or anywhere in that vicinity. I would rather take the 6 to 1 on West Coast or the 6 to 1 on Collected. Collected will be my second choice. Again, it seems like he ran his best race in the Pacific Classic over this track, beating Arrogate and dusting Accelerate. Of course, that doesn't really prove anything because Accelerate didn't really run its step today in the Breeders' Cup Mile. So I went 8 and 11 with my top choice. And I actually have a bomb in here that I'm going to throw in as kind of a pedigree play. He wouldn't be an A choice for me, but if I had enough money in the pick for, in my that I could use in my sequence, or maybe just as a win bet, I'm going to use something. I got to do something with the 2 War Decree. This is more a pedigree play than anything else. Aidan O'Brien, I know, will like to win the Classic. He's got Churchill in this race. Seamus Heffernan takes the ride on War Decree, but Warfront out of a street crime mare, I don't think dirt's really going to be the issue. To me, it's more, is this horse really a Grade 1 horse winner, Grade 1 winner on dirt? As you can see, 4 starts back, he beat Thunder Snow, who was all the rage before he decided to go bucking Bronco in the Derby. So I don't think the dirt really is the issue. I think it's more going to be, it's the Grade 1 competition, and maybe it's the distance, but again, War Friend is out of Danzig, who could run all day. Street Cry obviously was able to win the Dubai World Cup. So I don't really have any issues with the distance or the dirt. I just think it's whether War Decree is good enough. And this is going to be a tough race. He is 30-1 on the morning line, and he probably deserves to be every bit of 30-1, maybe even more than that. But I'm just wondering if maybe it's, there's 4 Bafferts and there's Gunrunner and there's everybody else, and there's, Aiden O'Brien is being overlooked because he's generally a turf trainer, running a horse on the dirt. But Declaration of War ran a pretty good race a couple years ago, basically having a lot less pedigree for the dirt than this. So again, I'm going to use him I may just put 2 to win, 2 across the board on War Decree, being that the horse is 30-1, and obviously Arkong back in 1994, or I guess it was 93, whatever it was, when he paid $230 to win. So this is not out of the realm of possibility. Yes, it's a long shot, obviously, but I definitely want to use War Decree a little bit in case all 4 of Baffert's horses and Gunrunner and forever, nobody else shows up. Again, it's a pedigree play for me, so I'll use War Decree a little, but West Coast is my top pick, and Collected is my choice underneath. And there's apparently, I don't know if there's any love for Gunrunner in this room, but since Rich has moved to another part of the house, maybe in his room, maybe there is love for Gunrunner. So Rich, take it away.
Yeah, I imagine that the day has come when I'm the voice of the East Coast horse. So here's my check mark, and it's on Gunrunner. So I've been on Gunrunner all year, and I'm not going to go into the competition that he's faced. He is a Grade 1 horse. He got caught by Arrogate back in Dubai, and this year he has been the class of the older division. So he's got 3 Grade 1 wins in a row. He's very quick up front. He's kind of like a West Coast horse, and like I said earlier on our show when we actually handicapped Gunrunner, the odd thing for me is here's an East Coast horse that has somehow gotten his way into, my heart, so to speak, and things like that. So I kind of like Gunrunner. And he is my top choice here. My second choice is probably my second favorite horse in the older division, Collected. We were at the Pacific Classic when he beat Arrogate that day. He was my big bet that day, and I was telling anybody that would listen that he was going to be able to beat Arrogate that day. So I think he can do it again. I'm not positive he can do it again, but I think he can do it again. So my top 2 picks in this race were the 5 and the 11. But I wasn't about to toss out the rest of the Bafferts. I figured he knew what he was doing to try and take down Gunrunner. So I've actually also got the 1, which is Arrogate, in here, and I also have the West Coast, who I heard my 2 friends talking about here. So I went 1, 5, 8, 11. The 5 is indeed my top pick in this race, though. So let me go ahead, and I will come back to you guys, and we'll go ahead and get going on our pick 4 ticket. Welcome back. This is actually the Breeders' Cup hat that we got as well today. So that's the one that's there at Del Mar. And yeah, I've got it up. Hold on 1 second. All right. And this is what I have. In leg 1, Ray has got, like, queued up the Keno machine right there in leg 1. It's got the 5, the 12, the 10, the 8, the 11, and the 13. Joe, you've got the 4, the 6, and the 8, and I've got the 8, the 5, the 10, and the 12. So let's see here. We'll go ahead and insert our green line in here. Joe, yours is the top. Your top pick is the 4, right? In that race?
No, my top pick is Suede Wah, the 8.
The 8, that's right. Suede Wah. And Ray, who is yours? Is your top pick the 5 in that race?
5, yeah.
All right, the 5. And my top pick was the 8. All right, do we have consensus here? Which horse is the 10? Is that Ribchester?
Ribchester, yeah.
I see him on Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see him on both Ray and I's. And 8's there.
12.
12. Oh, the 12th. Yeah. There you go.
The 12, yeah. Roly Poly?
8, 10, 12.
The 12.
Anybody else? I see 5, 8, 10, 12. Oh, that's my line actually. 5, 8, 10, 12.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 11 and
We'll
13
move.
for like long, well, with like B picks. So
All right.
B
How
picks,
about we
but
put
playable if we had room.
Joe? Was your top pick the 11 or was it the 5?
11.
11. Okay. Well, let's see here. We'll see if we can. All right. Leg 3. You got the 3. See that right there.
Mm.
I see the 5. 3, 5. Joe, who's your top pick in that race? Leg 3.
Beach Patrol.
The 12. Okay. Probably the 12. Oh, the 10. 3, 5, 10, 12.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, 10.
Nope.
We
See on
talked
both
about
your
the
guys' one.
house.
Mm-hmm.
And in the finale, let's see. Let's see. You guys, your top picks of the 8 West Coast.
Well,
Joe.
didn't Joe one of the top picks was the 8 bigger picture? Well,
Yeah, but he's my lone.
oh, okay.
I'm the lone. At least for right now, we're just doing the consensus.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
And right, 1 to 5 to the. Yeah, because the 5 actually was my top pick, unfortunately. Gunrunner is my top pick on that race.
Okay.
Got the 1 as a consensus. We got the 8 with consensus, and we got the 11 with consensus. 1, 5, 8, 11. Hit that last one there. 4 times 4 times 4. The caveman. That's a $64 pick 4.
Mm-hmm.
I got that right? 4 times 4 times 4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to add anybody? Do we see anybody that's like
Well,
glaring?
I had a question that Ray and I talked about, and we both mentioned I think we single Bolt Doro. I don't. In other words, I just think we should probably single Bolt Doro and add horses in other races, and if free drop Billy beats us, he beats us. I think we need to take a stand. Since I was the only one who wanted free drop Billy on my ticket, let's just single Bolt Doro.
Okay.
And maybe add everybody. Maybe we can add everybody else in the other races because it'll.
Right. Yeah.
We don't have to double up with having the 5 in the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the 4 and the 6, right? And Ray has the 13, right?
11 and 13.
Oh, 11, right?
Man, we don't get past that first leg. Something's wrong.
Dude, it's a 14 horse field, and we only have 8.
8? Oh, really? 8? I thought
So there's still 6 horses that can beat you.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
So don't give me that if we don't get past it.
Oh, you're right,
If you want to get past it, take everybody then.
Yeah.
And 12, okay. And the final leg at 1, 5, 8, 11. All right.
We're gonna add the 14 in leg 3
Okay, there we go.
for Ray. So 7 by 6 by 4 is 168. So that's $84 ticket.
Okay.
So basically, we got a lot more coverage if Bolt Doro wins.
Mm-hmm.
If he loses, well, so do we.
No, I'm game with that. I mean, that looks like a good ticket to me. So 4, 5,
Yeah.
6,
Mhm.
8, 10, 11, 12, 13 with 11 with 3, 5, 8, 10, 12, 14 with 1, 5, 8, 11.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Let me come on back to you guys one last time. All right.
So all
Yeah.
Yeah.
basically all both the all got it.
All right. Any final thoughts on today's racing action or any prelude to thoughts on what we're going to see tomorrow?
Well, considering we don't have that much time, I was just actually curious if anybody wanted to have give their opinion about their best of the day that's not in the pick four.
Their best of the day that's not in the pick four.
Yeah, basically what your best bet, or if you want a long shot that you think people could use to get money to bet their pick four.
Who wants to go?
I can go either way.
Go ahead. Give me your best pick of the of the day. I guess
cool.
it's not in the pick four.
Sure. And this one's going to be a popular one. Until somebody beats Lady Eli, she's the one for me. She's going to be a short price, I would think, in the Philly Mare Turf. And given everything that she's overcome, I don't know, you got to beat her to get through that race. And I know I had bet Queen's Trust last year, but I just think Lady Eli is the most likely winner of any of the other horses in the undercard. And I'll give you a horse I like I think it's the Breeders' Cup Philly Mare Sprint. And no, it is not Unique Bella. The horse I'm going to give you is I have it written down here. It's Highway Star. The horse likes 7 furlongs. She's done well on the East Coast. I always get a little nervous betting East Coast horses when they come out west because they don't necessarily like the track, or maybe they won't like the track. But Highway Star is a horse who likes 7 furlongs. She's steady. She runs well pretty much every time out. So I'm going to take her in the Philly Mare Sturk, which is race 7, and she's number 10, and I believe she's 15-1 on the morning line. So my long shot is Highway Star, and my most likely winner of the day is Lady Eli.
Right? You got a most likely winner that you've got for the day?
Most likely winner.
Who's your best pick of the day?
Well, firstly, I want to give you a horse in the juvenile fillies. I think the public is going to pound Moonshine Memories to death in the betting windows, and I think that the way the track was playing today, I think a Lewing Star is going to be very tough to beat. First time she went 2 turns, Moonshine Memories got her. She's got good speed, and I think she's going to be able to, rate that speed. Talamo, second time, 2 turns. She's 6-1, and she's going to be very tough to beat, I believe. My most likely winner, I didn't get a chance to see look at the races early in the races, but I did see, like you said, Lady Eli. More of a sentimental bet for me. She's suffered so much, and she's came back, and just ran so well, and we hope for the best for her. But also, you know what? In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, there's a horse that he's Drew Fong's gonna be tough to beat. He's got speed, but I'm gonna go off the board here, and I think there's gonna be a lot of speed. He's gonna be challenged to Takakfo Roy H. And you know what? I'm gonna pick Whitmore to come off the pace and win the Breeders' Cup Sprint. I like the horse, 15-1. So that's my long shot of the day. Rich?
All right. I'm actually in that. If you guys are looking for some for me, the most likely winner of the day is the number 2 horse in the sprint. It's Strayfong. I've done worse than betting Bob Baffert horses in a 6 furlong sprint in Southern California. There is a horse named Imperial Hint who's coming in, who's going to have a lot of speed, and that should be his main competition. But I would stick with Strayfong. and that's my most likely winner on the day of the undercard. I think I've got my better bet would come a little bit later in the racing for the day. In what I think of as the pick four, I would like Highland Real probably as my top pick for the day. I wanted to thank everybody for hanging in there. I know we ran a little bit late tonight. We're a little bit after 10 o'clock. For those of you watching, if you enjoyed the show, we will be back next week because that's what the Three Broke Guys do. We're going to get together and take another to look at another exciting card, although at this point in time, I'm not sure which that card is. All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight. It is always a pleasure to handicap with the two of you.
Always a pleasure.
It's fun.
Yes.
We always enjoy
Oh
it.
yeah.
And
Yep.
we'll have fun at Delmar tomorrow. If you happen to
Oh
run into
yeah.
us, we'll be there.
We'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, if you're at Delmar tomorrow, look us up. And this was the one and only broadcast where we're actually in the same room, or at least in the same house together.
Oh yeah. Let's go over there. Come on. Let's go over there.
All right.
Prove it.
Let's go over there.
For Joe Inglis and Ray Torado, I'm Rich Sharp. Thank you for watching Three Broke Guys Handicapping. Good luck and good night, everybody.
Bye.